Good evening everybody, thank you very much for joining in. This is 44th in the series where we're going to speak about a topic which is known as business valuation modified multiples. However, this topic has been taken from one of the techniques in business valuation which is known as relative valuation. From this side, I am Rahul Magan, working as a corporate treasurer in EXL. At the same time, I am acting as a treasury trainer and business consultant in various firms in India and also acting as a virtual treasurer for various companies predominantly in Singapore. My first book, which is Options for Risk-Free Portfolio, already published in New York. Second, titled Techniques to Hedge Your Interest Rate Exposure, scheduled to publish in Singapore and Sydney by December 2014. You're most welcome to view my foreign exchange club, which is known as Foreign Exchange Enabling Thinkers, on LinkedIn, which is 2,170 global members and roughly 35,000 odd discussions. On YouTube, where I have 44 technical videos covering this one, 1,200 subscribers, views, and 44 subscribers as of now. Daily Motion, you can see the same 35 technical videos. You're most welcome to join me at 9899242978. You're also welcome to email me at rahulmagan8@gmail.com in case of any concern. So today we're going to speak about a topic which is known as business valuation modified multiples. I'm again stressing on the fact that this topic has come from a topic which is known as relative valuation, like that. Business valuation is of three types. The first type of business valuation is known as DCF, which is known as discounted cash flow valuation. Another type of technique is known as relative valuation. We had a word in the last about relative valuation. And third, which is known as contingent valuation. Today I would like to introduce with a concept which is one of the concepts taken from relative valuation, which is known as modified multiples. What do you mean by modified multiples? Modified multiples refers to a fact that a situation wherein you are taking one of the multiples of the relative valuation, however you are modify this multiple with the third variable which may vary here and there. Now take a very simple example. Relative valuation is nothing but an art of valuation wherein you are comparing the same asset classes in the same industry. In relative valuation, you have one of the multiples which is known as PE. Which is known as PE. Now P stands for price to earnings ratio. Price to earning ratio stands for market price per share to earning price per share. Earning price per share can be further categorized into two parts. One is known as plain EPS, another refers to diluted EPS. However, the industry is not only using the P but also using one more multiple to value, which is known as PE to G, which is PE to G, which is known as PEG ratio. Now there is a one catch in this. Theoretically side or practically side, the G can be compared like this, which is known as growth rate. Now growth rate can be compared as retention ratio into so-called return to equity, but this growth rate is known as a modified multiple, because this growth rate is modifying the multiple which is predominantly used for in relative valuation, which is known as PE. Now this growth rate would subject to two issues. That is why there is an issue in modified multiple. Now one is known as autocorrelation, another is known as auxiliary regression. Now, the growth rate which you are taking in business in PE to ratio, you need to understand that first you are comparing the Apple industry with an Apple industry. or you are comparing an apple to apple. It should not be like you are comparing apple with mango and XYZ. In that sense, you would lose the show. Please be note that the growth rate which you are using should link with the same industry. Now this would have again link with two, which is known as autocorrelation and auxiliary regression. Autocorrelation refers to a situation in statistics wherein one variable will speak with himself or herself. So if you are taking a growth rate, say you are comparing 10 industries or you are comparing the 10 company in one industry. In that sense, you are taking the growth rate of, in this each growth rate will speak with each other. This refers to the fact that autocorrelation. Second refers to an auxiliary regression. Auxiliary regression refers to a situation when all participants, when majority of the input variables speak with each other. So if you have a 10 input variables, all 10 input variables will speak with each other. Please be note that the modified multiples refers to a fact that once you are modifying the existing multiple of a relative valuation, and once you are modifying the existing multiple of a relative valuation, in that sense you have to make sure that the modified multiple which you are using is subject to two issues statistically. One issue is known as autocorrelation, second refers to as auxiliary regression. Autocorrelation refers to a fact that when one input variable speak with the same input variables, or when an input variable speak with himself or herself. Auxiliary regression refers to a fact that when all the input variables are speaking with each other. Example, you have a 7 input variables and all input variables are speaking with each other. So while deciding which of the modified variables you're going to take, you need to be in agreement of the fact that you should take the right modified variables, else it's going to harm the show. At the same time, you should also stress the fact that relative valuation is an art, it's not a science. So before deciding upon the multiple of a relative valuation, you should be pretty sound at which multiple you are taking, whether the multiple would help you or not, or whether the multiple would be able to answer what you are seeking for or not. Well, from this side, I am Rahul Magan. You are most welcome to contact me at 919899242978. However, before leaving the show, I would like to stress the fact that today business valuation is turning out to be an art. So it is predominantly important for you to understand that business valuation should be taken as an art than it is science. There is no point that you can have business valuation is just like a science, and relative valuation, once you are comparing different industries on a similar multiples, may turn out to be a big error. That we need to understand. Thank you very much, and thanks for joining.